At the University of Regina, the Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Digital Resource Hub showcases impactful EDI initiatives across the campus.
It's a centralized, accessible resource for our community and post-secondary institutions nationally.
Join us to hear the stories behind the initiatives shaping our campus.
My name is Michael Shires. I am the Community Engagement and Communications Librarian at the Dr. John Archer Library and Archives here at the University of Regina main campus. And I'm very pleased and honored to speak to you today. So the Dr. John Archer Library and Archives has been deeply committed to equity, diversity, and inclusion, and to embedding this work in our daily practice. This commitment is reflected in our strategic plan, which outlines key goals that guide our mission. So this is providing quality resources and services to support learning, research, and scholarship within the university community, fostering collaborative teaching, learning environments, and strengthening partnerships to support community cooperation. So Library and Archives has several key EDI initiatives and projects that we've undertaken to help drive this change. But because there's so many, I'd just like to highlight five of these. So the first EDI initiative is an inclusive language team. And this consists of a group of librarians and archivists that includes our federated colleges. And we are reviewing separate headings in our online catalog, which is called QuickFind, our discovery platform. And this work is to identify and address language that is harmful to equity-deserving groups. And this work currently focuses on terminology pertaining to Indigenous peoples and Two-Spirit LGBTQ+ communities, and replacing those harmful descriptive words with more inclusive alternatives. So we are initiating systemic changes to our cataloging practices. This project involves extensive consultation with members of the university community. It's fostered collaboration and knowledge sharing with other libraries regionally and nationally. A second example is our Archway exhibition space. And this is a space in a very high traffic area that's on the library's main floor. And it invites university and community members to showcase visual art with a focus on equity-deserving groups. And past exhibitions we've hosted include one called Riding is Resistance, which featured 8 skateboards from high school students that illustrated the history and ongoing impact of Canada's colonial past. And our current exhibition there is called Photo Voice for Health Equity. And this was developed by the Faculty of Nursing, and it features 14 photographs by University of Regina students from equity-deserving groups, with the aim to spark dialogue around the health and wellness needs of marginalized communities in Saskatchewan. I invite people to come and take a look. It's a fantastic exhibition, and it'll be up until December 2025. A third EDI initiative the library is involved in is called the One Book, One Province program. And Archer Library and Archives has played a critical role in helping manage this initiative. It was established by the Saskatchewan Library Association in 2017. And this province-wide program provides Saskatchewan residents an opportunity to engage with a shared experience around a selected fiction or nonfiction book. The One Book, One Province program aim is to create an experience for people that supports literacy and builds community engagement. And over the years, several Indigenous authors have been chosen, and their book talks have occurred throughout the province, including the University of Regina. A fourth EDI initiative is Archer Library and Archives has participated in the Saskatchewan Indigenous Storytelling Program since 2017. This is another province-wide program that has been managed by a nonprofit Saskatchewan library organization for over 20 years. And to support this program's mandate, the Library and Archives has invited elders, knowledge keepers, and storytellers to share Indigenous languages, cultures, and traditions. And these unique experiences have included music, food, displays of art, and most recently a screening of a documentary called Singing Back the Buffalo with its director Tasha Hubbard. By the way, the library has a streaming copy of this documentary that people can watch online. I highly encourage people to look at it. And finally, the final EDI initiative I'd like to highlight on behalf of the Library and Archives is that we have been a proud contributor to the Council of Prairie and Pacific University Libraries, or COPL as it's called. It's Indigenous Student Scholarship. COPL is a consortium of many libraries across Western Canada, academic libraries. The scholarship was established in 2022 to support Indigenous students from Western Canada who are pursuing a master's degree in library and information studies or archival studies. And since its inception, COPL members have collectively contributed about $100,000 for disbursement through the Building Brighter Futures Scholarship Program. And to date, 6 Indigenous students have received this scholarship. And it also provides support for their living expenses, not just for tuition, but living expenses as well. So it's a very prestigious scholarship. So I'd just like to conclude by saying that the Dr. John Archer Library and Archives is considered to be at the heart of our campus, due to our collaborative work to help further the university's mission and its 4 values. And of course, one of those values is equity, diversity, and inclusion. And we're excited to foster the shared effort of contributing to this EDI hub and helping build a more inclusive working and learning environment for the university community and beyond. Thank you. The initiative began with a province-wide initiative with libraries across Saskatchewan, meeting in Regina and online. And this involved libraries of all types, academic, school, special, public libraries. And the conversation was around certain subject headings that describe equity-deserving peoples. And the desire was to focus on Indigenous peoples. So I'll give one example. One was the word Indian. It's still used legally in the Indian Act of Canada, but the more inclusive term is Indigenous peoples of Canada. So there were conversations with library staff in this consortium, as well as inviting Indigenous peoples from various communities. So there was sort of a framework that was developed by this consortium of libraries in Saskatchewan, and that framework was then adopted by other libraries. So the U of R took that framework, and we've then made some local decisions. So we're looking at terms in our catalog quick find that just are harmful, and they're either historically out of date. And so we have identified some of the terms in our catalog. We've then invited faculty members, primarily from the university, and we've explained to them what we're doing. We've shown some of the work we've done, and then we want their input, their comments on what we're doing. When you go to a quick find, there will be a disclaimer saying, you may find harmful language. Please be aware we're investigating this work. If you find any words that you find offensive, please let us know, and we'll document that, and we'll investigate. So it's ongoing work. We're physically changing words in the catalog. We're talking with people, and we're providing updates on our website. This project started off on a smaller scale. So it's managed by a small nonprofit group of library workers in Saskatchewan, and they provide grants for libraries of all types. And one of my other titles or assignments is I'm an Indigenous Studies librarian. Even though I'm a settler, I wanted to learn more about Indigenous peoples personally and professionally. So I secured some grant funding from this nonprofit organization, and it allowed me to invite a storyteller. So I wanted to find someone who was feel comfortable speaking to the university community and community members, because these events have been open to the public and they're free. So they started off being in the library on our main floor where the Archway exhibition space is. And the attendance on average was about 40 people, so smallish, but as you know, there's lots of activities going on simultaneously every day on campus. There's many things going on. This event takes place in February only, which is Storytelling Month, province-wide. So it's actually a big event. The government of Saskatchewan proclaimed it Indigenous Storytelling Month. There's an official proclamation. So there's a lot of media coverage that we've had. Starting off, it was smaller in scope. I brought in a storyteller, and they would speak about their life growing up, and as they got older, what experiences did they encounter in everyday life. And it was a chance for settlers to better understand the plight that Indigenous peoples face. There's systemic racism still today. So the first early years were smaller in scope, but they were successful. The last couple of years, I expanded the scope of the program by partnering with other units on campus. So for instance, in 2024, I partnered with a faculty member in the Faculty of MAP, and she had connections through her research with an Indigenous man in Regina, and he played the gongs, and he sang as well, and it was incredible. So I moved the event out of the library into a more community-based space. So that was the Shoebox, the Jackie Shumiacher soundstage. So it opened up the space. It could accommodate upwards of 140 people. So it really grew in scope. And it was in the evening. The time was different versus being an hour during the day. This is in the evening with a small intermission. So it ended up being about an hour and a half, almost 2-hour event experience. So that was fantastic. We had media come and interview the Indigenous person and the researcher. So that was fantastic. This year, the scope grew even more. We again had the event in the Shumiacher sound stage. I partnered with the Tatwa Student Center and the Faculty of Education. And there's a faculty member, Analia King, Dr. Analia King, and we pooled our resources through connections. We decided to bring in Tasha Hubbard, who is in very high demand. She's the director of this documentary called Singing Back the Buffalo. It is an incredible film. It basically details the plight of the buffalo, how they were almost hunted to extinction in the late 19th century, how the population has slowly grown, and that the migration of the buffalo is north-south, and it crosses the border of the US and Canada. So this is an educational film. It supports truth and reconciliation, which is also one of the mandates of storytelling program, truth and reconciliation. The theater was packed. Every seat was taken. Luckily, I didn't have to turn away anybody, but I envision in the future that, which I'm actually starting to plan already with other partners on campus, the scope will be bigger. We're going to move it hopefully to an even larger space on campus that can accommodate hundreds of people. So the key with this is partnering and not just doing it alone, because it takes, the cliche, it takes a village to build a project. So. Yeah, very good question. So a bit of background. The award, the Indigenous Scholarship, the work in establishing it has involved, there's Indigenous Knowledge Standing Committee, or IKSC, which is through COPL, that consortium of libraries in Western Canada, of which I'm a member of. So that committee supported, it's a Truth and Reconciliation initiative. So the focus was on Indigenous peoples. Personally, I would love to have an award open to other people of color, not just Indigenous peoples. That would involve probably work from another team with COPL. It wouldn't be the mandate of this group. So it's basically tracked to the work of this group and reaching out to this organization who distributes the funds. So right now there are no plans. I personally would love to see such a scholarship. Yeah, I love to talk about our collections, and one of my other assignments in my job is helping develop and build and share our collections. So as you know, we have many materials, hard copy, books, journal articles, streaming media, music, art, in hard copy and online in many of our databases. And we've got dozens and dozens of databases that students and faculty have access to, and some community members as well. They can access some of these materials. So we have materials. Most of our materials are here to support the scholarship, the teaching, the learning, and the research of the university community. So they support student assignments and faculty research. So for Two-Spirit LGBTQ+, for instance, we have many materials throughout the library in book format and in databases. Women's and gender studies, there's a lot of material. And people of color, they're supported in many of these databases. And they're all research databases. There's articles and books. And there's also some databases that have more visuals, posters, diaries, pamphlets. So there's a visual component to our collections as well, not just strictly word-based content. The exhibitions that we've hosted are archived in our online repository through the university. So we've got some pictures. So when Photo Voice, when that leaves us in December, we'll have photos of what that looked like, and people can look at the pictures as well. And there's also a website for Photo Voice through Faculty of Nursing. So to support the collections, we often will have book talks. So Black History Month is in February. Mary Chapanchi, she's been instrumental in having speakers come and speak in February. And when time permits, we'll maybe have a display. We've got display cases around the library, the physical building, to support a book talk that an author has done. So we've done that in the past as well. So there's many initiatives we can do. It's just a matter of capacity and supporting the events that we host. Well, ultimately, I think the goal would be to erase systemic racism in culture, settler culture especially, and it's difficult to do. We have our collections, we promote what we have, but if people don't use them, then it's not serving their true purpose. So there's an education piece, and librarians, which I'm, our goal is literacy, whether it's information literacy, artificial intelligence literacy, I would say EDI literacy, and that sounds very academic, but the EDI literacy can be through these programs that we offer. And all the library staff, we would love to have more of these events. We have contests for students that are kind of fun contests, and they're open to any student. I didn't mention that the library hosts the Author Recognition Program. That's annual, supports student scholarship as well as just faculty. So any student, any background, if they've produced something that's been a creative work or a research scholarly work and it's been published or put in an art gallery or it's in the Archer exhibition space, we will promote that. And it'll be in our little booklet that we archive online. We have a reception every November. So these are events that we want to celebrate people and their contributions to society. And it's an ongoing initiative. There's no end point. It's an ongoing service that we provide. Yeah, that's a good question. I alluded to the fact of just capacity. So one of my other assignments is I liaise with the EDI office. So I know Dr. Sujatha Ras very well. I attended a multi-day workshop that she received a grant called Intergroup Dialogue, or IGD. Fantastic. I inquired the library to purchase a book that supports the IGD program, but I was one of a cohort of 15 people. So to promote this work, and I think it begins with dialogue and talking with others. It takes time, and there's a conversational way to do it in a good way. And I don't know that we know how to do that. There's a lot of angst in society, and we talk at people. We don't listen before we speak. And everybody has a story to share, and that dialogue takes time. And I was in that program, and Mary Chupanchi, I was in that program too. So there's 2 librarians and 14 others or so around campus. How can we spread this work? And that's the next step, and we're actually meeting in a couple weeks. So it's a challenge. We know there's an opportunity to educate's not the right word, but to explain how to listen and have dialogue with people in a constructive way. And going back to library, and then mentioning to people, well, we have resources that people can use for scholarship or for recreational leisure reading, attending book talks, coming to exhibits that we host. So it takes time. It's building those relationships takes time, and you have to be patient. And you can't expect results in a week or a month. It's been a personal learning journey for me as well, not just professionally, but personally. And I've been at the university for 15 years, and when I came here, I had certain opinions of things, and I've branched out. And I've learned a lot, and there's still more to learn. Well, I would say the library and archives' involvement in EDI initiatives is to be a collaborative partner with the university and its federated colleges. And that includes working with all the departments and faculties and units, including the Tatawa Student Center, and partners outside of the university community, the general public, working with the general public library, working with nonprofit organizations, building a true community. And this supports the University of Regina's academic mission and the libraries. The library is one unit of the university, but we play a critical role. We are the heart of the university, and through our collections, our literacy that we provide to student, staff, faculty will help support and drive EDI initiatives in the years to come.